I am recording this from my bedroom, past my sleep time, because there are too many people in this world that I know personally and care deeply about who are stuck and suffering in love. And I am recording this as a message to my former self who was stuck and suffering in love. The topic of this video is breaking trauma bonds and toxic relationship loops. And the main message is that you don't have to break up with another person in order to break these loops. That is a big illusion and often compounds your suffering through time. The important thing is to break up with yourself. The version of yourself that's stuck in the trauma bond and stuck in the toxic relationship looping. Now, this is intended for those suffering in partnership, but it applies to anyone who's suffering in a toxic relationship of any kind. If you're here on this channel, you might be ripe enough to hear this, but this applies in every case. If you're in a trauma bond or toxic relationship situation of any kind, you are on your way to unconditional love. I know that seems like a disintuitive connection, but this is the natural way, the natural order, and what is always happening on some level. You have decided and volunteered yourself to experience and to learn and to embody unconditional love. Relationships that pull on your heartstrings that you cannot understand mentally are a pathway for you to get to that soul level goal. And consciously or unconsciously, right now, you are on a journey that is taking you deeper and deeper towards that unconditional love, that soul connected love that lasts, that you know you've been longing to experience with another person. And you're actually learning to embody it. That's what is happening in your trauma bond or toxic relationship loops. You are learning soul lessons because you've probably heard already that you're a soul and Earth is a school. So any partnership is an experience of holding a mirror close to you, closer than any other mirror. Everyone in your life is a mirror for you. Partnership is so intense and can be so intensely challenging because you're holding someone so close to you that they must reflect and do reflect often very sharply and confrontingly your shadows, your fears, your doubts, your scarcity, your wounds, your trauma, your pain. Now, yes, we know they reflect the nice stuff too. They reflect our light and they recognize us, and there's a beautiful connection that has drawn you together, but there's always your own shadows that must arise. And these shadows, these fears, are the main factor involved in your conflicts. So if you're concentrated on the so-called toxicity and the looping discomfort and pain and suffering and unkindness or mistreatment, you're focusing at the superficial level of what's happening here, because on a deeper level, there is a reason that you are here facing one another, even precisely that person. There is a larger design involved in everything you're experiencing that is producing the exact words that they're using and the way that they're revealing to you your own shadows. So what attracts you and what has attracted you the whole time is your soul's knowing of how this can go, of even how this should go, this particular person and this opportunity to experience unconditional love. That's what keeps you attracted to someone. And whether they're there or not, the opportunity is the same. So the message there is you've never done anything wrong. You're not wrong to be attracted to this person. You didn't pick the wrong person. And no matter whether you're together or not right now, this is about you. This is about you learning what love is. And my big, big encouragement is do not abandon the soul knowing that brought you here. Get closer to it. And warning, there are many distractions and pitfalls to tear you away from that. But there's an intelligence behind all of this, everything that's happening. And it doesn't have to be painful. It is actually a natural intelligence. We're actually designed mechanically to flow with that natural intelligence. And when you start to see that, you can make big changes very quickly. So what's really going on is you are primed for an ego shed. Because you volunteered yourself to experience love, real, true, original love. Because you volunteered yourself for that, and this person came along, or whatever experience it is that you're facing, really what's happening is you've agreed to face your freaking fears. Your fears are rising up. They're rising up in response, seemingly, to challenges. And these challenges are there so that your fears come up. Like, this is in the design of your experience here on life. Now, your ego, your mind, and your mind emotional stories that you have about how life works and what you were taught in your conditioning tends to go, error, error, there is a problem. I feel pain, discomfort, something has gone wrong. This is not love. This does not fit my idea of love or partnership or what I am wanting to experience. Something has gone wrong. And in fact, the particular fear which is showing up in you is precisely showing up because you have a resonance for it. Probably an old story, an old pain, and an old identity. It's often nothing to do with the person in front of you. And if you can start to recognize that, we have a little bit of hope. But really, don't lose sight of what's happening. This is like a game of chicken. Like, you want to learn what love is? There's a fucking cost. You gotta let go of the nonsense you've been running on, the conditioned nonsense about what you were told life is and how it works and how you're some feeble, hopeless human. You gotta get strong. So this is really like a game of chicken. Like, your fear has come up in front of you. What do? Like, run away, cry, point at it, ask it to be different? No, at some point, you got to remember who you are. And you got to come in touch with your soul and with the knowing deep inside you that you've been attracted here for a reason. And the more you make touch with your soul, the more you stand firmly when fear arises, because your soul is fearless. It knows that the story connected to fear in the first place isn't real. And neither is there any real reason for you to be afraid. If you fail to unplug from taking the superficial story as real, you're going to loop. So if you've been looping, that's what you've been doing. And this can go on and on and on. There is no limit. Well, that's a story for another day, because ultimately I feel that there is at this time. But it can at least seem like there's no freaking limit, and things can just seem to get worse. And the pain can keep compounding, and then the experience can just get stronger, and then someone else shows up and it's the same thing, and you just are like, God, what have I done? Have you forsaken me? Am I being punished? No, you're not being punished. You just haven't got your eye on the ball as to what's happening here. So you're facing your own ego, and your soul, the larger driving force of your experience, the oneness and the divine design, is going to keep attracting you to similar circumstances because it knows. It knows. Behind your human eyes, there's a knowing. There's a call for you to look. There's a call for you to give attention. There's a call for your presence and awareness. I am being shown something here that I want to learn and that I am meant to learn. This person and this reaction is actually helping me to uninhibit myself from the lies and the illusion of human life. Remember, like, the biggest lesson you could learn at Earth School is unconditional love. And please remember also, you're not being punished. You want this. You want to experience unconditional love, and when you're worn down and tired out and depleted and drained from toxic partnership relating, like you don't even know anymore if you want anything at some point. So I want to encourage you and I want to remind you, no, like deep, deep, deep inside of you, there is a reason for being here, and you really, really, more than anything, you want that. I know this because I've been working with people and their bodies for over a decade. I see it. It's coded in your cells. Like it's in your design. You can't get out of it so long as you are here. You are here for this. It's part of your purpose. You want to experience unconditional love. And actually, precisely with this person, there's an opportunity to. And that is real love, like original love. You want that more than anything. And let's just not confuse that with illusionary stories about love, Hollywood ideas, etc. So here's how it's going to go. As long as you believe in the ego-based stories, doubts, and fears, they will continue to play out. It's kind of funny when you start to get it. So long as you remain fixated on the superficial circumstances of your unwanted problems, you are denying your own soul truth. So you will be shown and again until you see it more deeply and truthfully. This same old part of you which has taken the lie to be true. And what keeps you coming back? What keeps you learning? Your heart, your longing, the force of life inside of you is what keeps you coming back. And sometimes I do see people successfully denying that. And to deny your heart, to deny this life force that's running everything on the planet, including your body, like it's a recipe for illness, disease, and zapped aliveness, listlessness, purposelessness, depression. So I don't recommend that. That's how it's working, all right? I wish someone had told me sooner. What do we do with all that? It's time to revisit the stories, the fears, the doubts, and the labels you have about your person. That is your blame. Yours. Own it. Your blame. Your victimhood. The ways that you have disempowered yourself. Your complaint that life has gotten it wrong. When you see how things are actually working, you recognize the utter arrogance in that. So what's been happening is that you've been operating in a trap of your own mental, emotional making. Now, you haven't done anything wrong. You weren't conscious of this. You didn't get this message. You didn't know. But now you do. And so what's my top recommendation? I will say that the downfall of my last relationship had so much to do with my dabbling in psychological reasoning and relationship advice, mostly sourced on the frickin' internet, would you believe? And I was just trying to make things better and I was trying to understand, but I tell you now, knowing what I know, that was a key factor in the downfall of our relationship. On the flip side of that, I loved this person. We had such a special soul connection. We both wanted to be together. We both felt the potential and the beauty of it. I had a vision of what was possible for us that had never left me from the start. Women shame themselves all the time. I don't know so much about men for shaming yourselves for even getting into the relationship. All that's happened is you've never been taught to work with the potential that you actually see. To work with the potential that you see is to create in line with nature. Now I've learned how to do that too, but we'll come to the full lessons another day. But there's just so much intelligence in you that has been visible and that you'll start to see when you come out of the conventional way of thinking. So if I were you, I would absolutely quit, absolutely stop listening to all the conventional approaches, relationship advice and strategies, psychology-based teachings, and sorry, your therapist or your friends who are caught up in all of that mindset as well. Now that is a tall order, I know, but what I would encourage you to start listening to is yourself, is the truth that flows through your whole body and nature and heart. In order to actually break the cycle you want to break, this is what's needed. And what's needed is that you have to see what's happening to you from a spiritual vantage point. That does not mean get a psychic reading or ask someone else to tell you the spiritual perspective. So even everything I'm saying, I don't want you to just take my word for it. But you might need to at the start because you might be quite out of practice here. But tuning yourself back to your soul and your spirit is a work of inner muscles. You were born with all the capacities for that. You have it. You're not missing anything. You never have been. It's just sort of bringing things back online. And doing so, committing to that, is coming home to the truth of who you are. The fastest way there is connect to your own heart and let it lead you. And through your heart, make peace inside, because the conflict your head and heart have been stuck in is really the core patterning that has produced painful love relationships outside. So well done. If you have listened this far, I don't know if the version of me I'm making this for would have listened this far. I know how difficult it is when you are in pain to be confronted like this and to take responsibility for what's happening. But I also know that at least one person out there at some point will find this on the internet and it will serve them. If your mind, also known as ego, is saying, actually, there is no different way to see this. This person is really so bad. You know what? First of all, if you're being beaten and severely abused, then go listen to some other video and get the help that you need. This is not the message and the time for the message for you. But so long as you're not in danger, let me check. Is there part of you that's saying, no, there's no other way to see this. That person is bad and I am good. That person is wrong and I am right. I've been there. I know, not just in partnership. I know that game very, very well. I especially know the spiritual girly, good girl, nice person attitude. They need to change. That over there is the problem. Tell you what, given that I read energy, etc., as soon as you're pointing your finger at anyone, you're leaking yours. You're leaking your power. Notice when you do that. On the spiritual level, there is a truth we cannot escape. We create our reality with our perception and our sense of who we are. And again, the version of myself I'm talking to does not want to hear this because she's in such an overwhelmingly challenging situation. She doesn't really believe in conscious manifestation anymore. She doesn't really believe that she has the power to overcome this. And if you feel that way, I just want to freaking fast track you, okay? Because you can, and actually, you really, really are creating it. And you can create a completely different experience. You can create the life of your dreams. You are meant to. Again, you're coded for it right the way through your body. I'd love to help you. Just ask me a question, all right? But so long as you're living in the lies of your mind and your stories, it's going to be painful and the suffering is not going to end. That's what you need to give up, not another person. Sure, some space, some distance, some time alone and attention to make this happen, absolutely. But it was never really about any other person. It's about you. It's about your connection to yourself. So come back to the truth that lives inside of your heart, your body, your cells, all of nature, actually all of this world. And you can find peace. And I don't mean momentary peace. I don't mean momentary calm. I mean peace, finally. And sometimes these patterns in relationships are really exactly what we need to even realize that we want peace. Above all, we want peace. They help us to shake free from our wanting to be correct and right and better and superior. So if you're at that stage where you're like, I just want peace, like you're so close to it. I also have a video about how toxic relationships are a pathway to peace. You might want to listen to that. It's not coming from a place of mentalizing. I've got experience with the body. All illness and disease in the body is a pathway to wellness. Like, it's everything. All pain is a portal. All pain is unconsciousness nudging you to expand your consciousness. Bring consciousness, not your mind, not your story. Bring consciousness. Bring your own ability to see beyond your five senses to your pain, and you will find peace. That I promise you. Follow the truth in your heart, and you can live real, true, lasting, ever deepening love. And there is nothing I want more for you, nothing I want more for me, nothing I want more for the world. So thank you for listening. If I can support you further, if you have a question, please leave it below. Otherwise, if you'd like to work one-on-one or join something I'm doing, check the website. There's so much love for you in this world. It's actually all love. It's shocking to the mind and ego. It's absolutely destructive to the mind and ego. And it is amazing and so delicious. And keep going. Keep going. Look for love. Look for truth. Beat the brainwash, people.